I'm Mayara Magri, first soloist with the Royal Ballet. I was born and I grew up in Brazil, Rio de Janeiro. My parents didn't really come from a very theatrical background. So my interest in dance really came from a friend from school that used to take ballet classes in a local school. And she invited me to come along one day, and I did. And because I come from a very simple family, they couldn't really pay for it. And it was a private school at the time. So they managed to offer me a scholarship, which was great. So I was capable of starting without worrying my parents about it. So during the morning, I used to take my academic lessons at a normal school, completely separate from the ballet school. And after lunchtime, I used to just be at the ballet school for like 6 hours a day from Monday to Friday. I'm not sure if it's because it was just something new to me completely, but I always really enjoyed dancing in general whenever I went to birthday parties and you're very young. I was only 8 when I started, so I always enjoyed music and dance. That was just different way to learn it, and I got into it. So my first ballet teachers were just teaching me the basic things, how to do ballet, and we had the Vaganova style at that ballet school, and I learned, the basic things about dance. But it was really when I was 10 years old that I think she was my third ballet teacher, and it was really fresh and new because she had just arrived from Stuttgart Ballet Company. She had retired from the company. She was a soloist there for 11 years. And she brought this thing about making a career out of what I was doing, and she started pushing me that way. So she was preparing me for competitions around Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. So culturally, it's very common in Brazil to prepare very young kids to be on stage. It's not like you do so much training and then only when they mature enough you get them on there. So in a way it's good because it makes the kid lose the fear of being on stage and being seen doing what they're doing. And I really enjoyed that. So at age 12, I had my first experience on stage being by myself. I used to do dance with groups before that, but I remember being on point at age 12 on stage, and it was really, really exciting. It was a very short solo, Cupid from Don Quixote. I was just so tiny and on point already. Like, people couldn't believe I could do what I did on point at that age. At the very beginning, my mum helped with the costumes for the performances just because it would be a cheaper way of doing it. And she was really good at it. I would say that the general public in Brazil that has something to do with dance are very passionate about ballet. We have amazing dancers and teachers there. Unfortunately, it's not in our culture to invest in dance in general. The way the Brazilian people appreciate dance is more like showtime sort of thing. That's why we're always getting ready from a very young age to be on stage, mostly because of Carnival. I don't know. The performance was the most important always. So we were always performing at malls and having little performances everywhere around just to cheer people up sort of thing. Mostly we get the chance to perform in ballet competitions, and you could do it from a very young age to the age that you're preparing yourself to get a career out of it or not. And it's all around Brazil. It's competition after competition. Yeah, one of the competitions I went to at age 14, it's a huge festival, dance festival in South Brazil. And after winning that, I was best ballerina of it sort of thing. I got given the opportunity to go to Argentina. So this workshop in Argentina is a little bit like the Prix de Lausanne. So it's 1 week full of classes that are being watched by teachers and people that have some sort of influence at the Prix de Lausanne. And you have 2 scholarships that will take you to the real Prix de Lausanne in Switzerland. And after being there for a week in Argentina, studying, learning, performing, I also had a classical variation, a contemporary variation, pretty much how it works in Lausanne. I managed to win this scholarship, knowing that I had to go to Lausanne 5 months later after that competition. It was really exciting. I had really had something to work on, and then we received the videos to learn the variations we were going to do. And we were just really pushing to get good at ballet class because they really focus on that. And until that time, I was just worried mostly about performance and about going on stage and about just dancing my life out, sort of thing. So I had to go back a few steps to really tidy up my technique to be ready for the Prix de Lausanne. To go to Switzerland was really exciting because it was my very first time in Europe ever. So I was like, oh my God, how is it going to be? Are they going to like the way I dance? Because I had only been around Brazil. I was really excited though. I was never really scared of the unknown, sort of thing. I was just always like, okay, let's go for it. That's from my personality, I'm like that. My family didn't come with me. I went with my ballet teacher and the director of my ballet school. But luckily, the Prix de Lausanne, they show it live online. So they plugged it to the big screen at home and they were watching it like a proper World Cup final. It was just, it was good so that they could experience it and watch it over and over again afterwards. So after a week of ballet classes and rehearsals on stage with different teachers and choreographers, I managed to pass to the final, and eventually I got to win the competition. I was the first Brazilian ballet dancer to win it at that age. So it was a pretty big thing for my country and for myself. I wasn't really expecting it. I was just so overwhelmed about the whole organization and the structure of the competition and how things just happened at the right time and everything was planned before, very different from how things are in Brazil. So I was just really blown away by how far I got to experience all that. Well, if you get to win the gold medal at the Prix de Lausanne, you get to choose the school you want to go and study. I was age 16, so it would be quite hard to go straight into the company. I got offered the Royal Ballet School in London, and I remember Galen Stark, the ex-director of the Royal Ballet School that is no longer with us, coming to my ballet teacher and speaking to her, saying that, oh, she really needs to go to the Royal Ballet School. I think she would really find herself there and it would be amazing for her. And my ballet teacher wasn't very sure about, oh, I don't know, maybe she's more American, she should go to San Francisco or New York City Ballet. That's, the vision my teacher had of me, which put a little bit in my head that I should go to America. But for some reason, after watching videos of the Royal Ballet and on YouTube, I always really wanted to go one day to that company for, the amazing rep they have. So for the reputation that the Royal Ballet School had, the director of my school in Brazil came together with me to the conclusion that it would be the best option to go to London and finish my studies there, because they were the school that offered me the most help and support. I went back to Brazil after the Prix de Lausanne, got to see my family and prepare for the Youth American Grand Prix in New York, which was 3 weeks later, the Prix de Lausanne. I went there as well, performed a different variation, and I noticed how different it was just from arriving in the city. I had been to New York before and I had participated of the YAGP before at age, I think, 13. After deciding that I wanted to go to London and finish my studies at the Royal Ballet School, I had about 5 months to prepare for it. So I didn't have to finish my academic school in that year because I would move away in September and we would finish in December, so there was no point. So I was studying English during the day and training ballet during the afternoon, how I was before. So in September, I got to move to London. My parents were a bit worried because I was still 16 and a bit too young. But I guess with the internet, everything got so much easier. I was still capable of speaking with them every day pretty much. So it didn't feel that hard to be alone. And I also had all the support I needed through the school. They taught me English. They were always there, helping, and if I needed anything, it was it was really amazing how much they supported me in that way, as well as the training. So the training I had in Brazil was based on the Vaganova method. And when I moved to England to study the English method, the biggest difference for me was the care to the details. I was so used to just doing things and pretty much find my own way of doing things instead of following the right technique to do and to shape it and to make it all about the line and to make it pretty and classy. And I got that in the last year of training at the Royal Ballet School. And it was really good because I managed to get a bit of both, and I'm not scared to be on stage, which was great. Firstly, I was blown away for the amount of shows the Royal Ballet Company had booked for one season, because in Brazil they used to do like 4 or 5 productions a year of like 6 shows, max 10 shows every production. So when I saw how many ballets the Royal Ballet would do in one whole season and how many performances of it, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just amazing. This is what I wanted, sort of thing. As a student, I used to always go and watch, because I used to get standing tickets to watch the performances at the Royal Ballet. I used to always manage to get them and just watch over and over the same performances. And it's just amazing to be in that theatre and to experience that. It was really different, and I just really fell in love with it. It was really what I wanted to be and where I wanted to be, and it was great. So I already joined at the final year of the Royal Ballet School, and that means that straight after this year you have to have a job to go to. So after 6 months at the Royal Ballet School, you already start auditioning and to eventually get a job. My first audition, I went to Stuttgart just because my ballet teacher from Brazil was from there and she knew some people that let me take some class with the company. I didn't get the job there because they thought I was a bit too young. I went back to the Royal Ballet School, and Wayne Igling, the old director of the English National Company, went to watch my repertoire class, and he gave me the contract. I was really excited, of course, but at the very beginning of the year, I remember making a list of priorities. You always have to do that when you join the Royal Ballet School, if you're at the very last year. And my first priority was the Royal Ballet. My second priority was the English National Ballet, just because it was in London as well. I wasn't really expecting anything from the Royal Ballet Company, mostly because I couldn't speak very good English at the time. So to me, I was just really focused at doing the ballet sort of thing. I wasn't really aware of what was happening, what sort of people they were looking for, or who from my year they would pick. I remember going to Galen Stock's office and saying, oh, I'm so happy about this contract I got from English National Ballet, but my first option was really the Royal Ballet. And she took the phone right in front of me and she called Monica Mason, she was the director at the time, and said, oh, so we've got this lovely dancer here, they would love to try a contract. And I was just like, I cannot believe she's actually talking to Monica Mason right in front of me, talking about me. And she invited Monica to come and watch class on the next day. And because the directorship was changing in that year, it was going to Kevin O'Hare, Monica Mason and Kevin came to watch my class on the next day. And then Nicola Trana, my teacher in that year, was teaching that class. And they watched it, and I got the contract afterwards. It sounds easy, but it was really scary to see those people that I really knew who they were and what they could do to my career, sort of thing. So I was really trying to do everything I got told. So after having these 2 amazing contracts in my hand, I had to really go with my heart and choose what I was there for. And it was for the Royal Ballet. That's why I chose the Royal Ballet School. And so I accepted the contract that Monica and Kevin had given me. And yeah, and it was really good. It was really an amazing experience to go through the stage door for the very first time as a company member of the Royal Ballet. It was such an achievement. I had, gone through so much all the way through Brazil and competitions and all that. And finally I was there, starting my professional career in an amazing place, and the place I always wanted to be. it was a little scary just because I didn't know many people, but I guess that's how it is when you join anywhere, when you start your new job, especially when it's your first job. We had class in the morning, and I remember having like Carlos Acosta in front of me. Tamara was also in the class, like Marianela Nunes, all these like amazing stars that I've always watched online, and they were just there, and they were so nice to me and made me feel welcome. And it was just, I could not believe up until, months later where I was at. And yeah, I was really excited to start. I knew that it wouldn't be easy because it's a huge company, 95 dancers there, amazing dancers. So I just had to do my own thing and really work hard and apply all the training I had and enjoy it. It's so easy to just get carried away with so much good that you see in the company. I just felt like I was learning constantly from watching everyone doing different roles and different things, and watching also the performances. Even if I wasn't involved in those performances, I was still watching and learning something from it and getting involved in that place. And it was just amazing. I was just really exciting. I'm very happy.
A dream come true.
Yeah, it was really like a dream come true. Yeah.
Cool.
The hardest thing to get used to was having to rehearse completely different ballets during the day and then perform a different one at night. So we were doing loads of contemporary ballets throughout the day and rehearsing another production for like 5 hours, and then in the evening you'd have like Swan Lake that you haven't even touched for like 2 weeks. So you had to really keep the ballet going in your head and the corrections you got from the previous shows and things like that. And it took me a while to get used to it, but I think after a year or two, I finally did. After being 2 years in the quarter ballet, I got my first serious injury, typical for ballet dancers. I had a stress fracture on the second metatarsal, and that put me off dancing for 4 months. And I had never done that before. I had never stopped moving for more than a week or something. In a way, it was good because it made me learn loads about my body and about what I needed to do to keep my body going. Because if you think our bodies, our work instruments, that was the time my body told me to stop because I was hurting myself or doing something wrong. And after that, I learned so much from it. And since then, I haven't got any bad injuries. I've really learned how to deal with my body and do the right things for it. So Kevin O'Hare has been my director since my very first year in the company, and he has pushed me loads throughout these years. He's always given me opportunities from the very first season, and it was really good because I really felt ready for the opportunities he gave me at the time, and I tried to do my best to perform it and prove that I could do much more. So I recently got promoted to first soloist, which is really exciting. I always wanted to achieve that. But it is, with excitement, it also comes, the pressure of being the first soloist of the Royal Ballet and being ahead of the company doing solos and principal roles. The next step is to become a principal. So I feel like I have to work a lot harder now to make myself look at my best because people will be expecting more from me. But that's really exciting because that's really what I always wanted to do and where I wanted to be at. So it's, good things to come. I can't wait to, So I'm going to be starting the season with Mitzi in Marling. Another thing that I'm really looking forward to is Gamzati in Bayadere. Can't wait for that because it's a ballet that I really watched when I was very young. And I remember seeing Darcy Bussell doing it, and it was just amazing. And since I joined, the company has only done it once, so it will still be really fresh for me. And I can't wait to work with Natalia Makarova and just work in this amazing production that the Royal Ballet has of La Bayadere. Yeah. After that, I've got Gypsy Girl in two pigeons. I've done the role before when I was an artist, a first artist actually. That was the first time I got to do it. And now I'll be coming back to it. Hopefully it'll feel easier because it's a tough role. It's really tiring. And then the most exciting thing that I've got for this season is Don Quixote. I'll be playing the role of Kitri. And I can see a lot of myself and a lot of my personality in that role. And I just want to start working on it. I'm really excited. As a dancer, I try to be as versatile as I can. I try to really take on the roles I get given and really work on them and do the best I can possibly do in the performance. I'd really like to try more dramatic roles and get more into these, into the drama really, that Macmillan ballets bring to the stage, as an example. So something that I really got good at from working at the Royal Ballet was developing my acting skills. I feel like the company, from the ballets we have, from all the Macmillan work, they really work on you as a person and how you express yourself and how you put yourself out there, always telling the story, of course, through the story. I do see myself as a dramatic dancer. I haven't really got the chance to prove myself that way. Well, ballet has really changed my life. I'm out of my country, I don't live with my family. I've come all the way from Brazil to here. I'm building my life with something that I really love doing. So when I'm dancing is where I feel most comfortable with myself. It's where I want to be, sort of thing. It's what I want to be doing. It is hard work, and I like that challenge about it. But it's just, it's just a way of expressing yourself. Of course, it took a lot of my time and childhood to want to become a ballet dancer. I had to do it full time. I can't just do it part time. I had to decide from a very young age what I wanted to do, and I went for it. Of course, I had so much help around me from my teachers, family support, but it was always something I was very determined to do, and I always had the dream to be where I'm at today and to be achieving all these roles and to be recognized in these amazing companies. It's just wonderful, and it is with no doubt where I want it to be. And I'm really happy, and I can't wait for what's coming.